Happiness is a function of expectations. And today I just want to cover a couple things with the Indian launch of the Redmi K20 Pro, why people don't seem to be that happy with it, and also Redmi kind of addressing the touch screen jitter issue that we've been talking about. Hey, my name is Mitchell. Before we start this video, I want to thank everyone that uses my affiliate links. Without your support, we couldn't make this content possible. Also, if you're on Twitter, go ahead and check out my Twitter in the description down below. I've also been sharing a lot of year photos on my Instagram feed, XIAOMItography, and there's links to all that stuff in the description. Okay, you guys know the drill. If you guys want to chat, hit the Telegram group. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of my videos, hit the subscribe button, and let's just hop into this. So first up, with the Indian launch, why people seem to be unhappy with it. For the last couple weeks, Xiaomi has been literally hyping up the launch of the Redmi K20 Pro, telling people that the hype is real. And today, with the Indian launch of the Redmi K20 Pro, and with the price that it's getting launched at being 30,099 Indian rupees, or right around $400, a lot of people were really angry with that. Now keep in mind that is for the 128GB model, which is the model that I have. It's a good phone and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But people in the Telegram communities that I'm part of, people in the live stream chat on YouTube were talking about canceling their orders on the device since this is going to be a lot more expensive than a lot of people have anticipated. And I think it's really, really important to go back to kind of what I said before, that happiness is a function of expectations. And at least when Redmi has been hyping up this device as their new flagship coming to India, a lot of people perceived this as Xiaomi bringing a flagship killer device to the Indian market. And at $400, while it's not a great deal of money, and I think that at that price, I think it's a really fair price for what you're getting out of the device in regards to specs, camera, performance. I think it's totally an agreeable price. I think that the device performs really, really well given that price point. But it is not the industry-changing price that was the Poco F1. And I think that because Redmi was hyping up this device so much, people were expecting to get another premium device at a mid-tier price point, when the reality is that they got a premium device at a sub-premium price point. Not really a mid-tier price point, but definitely a sub-premium price point. Whereas when the Poco F1 launched, it launched at the same price as a lot of the mid-tier devices. Now, of course, inflation is something that needs to be taken into account for. And in India, the price of the device, you have to take into account that there's a lot of tax on the components of these devices in India. So in the press release, Xiaomi, or Redmi I should say, was saying that 65% of the components for these devices were assembled or created within India, which is great. And I think that moving more manufacturing out of China into India is an awesome thing, especially with India's smartphone market. And it's a good example of how high taxes and tariffs can bring a lot of manufacturing into a country or domestically. I don't think that it launches at an unreasonable price point. I think the 30,000 rupee price point is very competitive, but when it launches at this price point and then they go on stage and say it will also support their 27-watt charger, the one that came stock with the Xiaomi Mi 9, but you're not going to be able to get the charger included with it. You have to purchase the charger separately for another 1,000 rupees. It doesn't do a lot to calm people down when they were expecting a device that was competing with the OnePlus 7 Pro, as the OnePlus 7 Pro comes with their fast charging brick and a 90 hertz display and UFS 3.1 storage. So people are disappointed. There's nothing really I can say that, but that's why people in India seem to be disappointed about this device. I think that it's a reasonable and a fair cost for the device. I wouldn't necessarily be disappointed. It's important to keep in mind that a few years ago, we didn't really even have any of these sub-premium, above mid-tier devices. Like, this is a whole new sub-segment that Xiaomi, Redmi has kind of introduced. Enough said. The other thing I wanted to talk about is Xiaomi kind of responds to this touch sensitivity issue, and it's something that I've already gotten to experiment with. In their press release, or in their press conference for the device, they were talking about some of the modes in their new Game Turbo AI mode. And I talk about the ability to fine-tune touch sensitivity in-game. Now, this is something that I had talked about in the Telegram groups, the fact that when I went from one ROM, one of the earlier release ROMs, to a newer release ROMs, touch sensitivity went way down on the device, and it made the device feel a lot more sluggish. It's something that other users even confirmed that they noticed it. And Xiaomi now is saying that you can tune the touch sensitivity of your device in Game Turbo. And I've already played PUBG with the sensitivity set to max, and it is such a world of difference. It makes the device feel so much more responsive. It makes the touch input feel incredibly, incredibly precise and accurate. And just like a casual PUBG player, I got a better performance playing PUBG on the K20 Pro with the sensitivity set to high than I did before I enabled Game Turbo. Disappointing aspect of this comes when I leave Game Turbo and then I go back to the regular touch sensitivity of the device, and it is a noticeable decrease. And if people want to argue with me, if you have a K20 Pro, turn Game Turbo on for a messaging app, type in that messaging app, turn Game Turbo off, you will notice a difference. Same thing when playing PUBG. You will notice a difference in touch sensitivity. The next aspect that I would like to touch on with this is something I brought up in the Telegram group, and it's something that a lot of people kind of agreed with me with in regards to the dangers of blaming the touch jitter and touch input on AMOLED displays. And before I do this, I want to thank all of the YouTubers that have quoted me, all the people that I've been able to connect with, Frankie Tech, C4E Tech, and a couple other ones of note. I've been a fan of most of you guys for a while, to do collabs with you guys. And there's been a lot of investigative research about touch sensitivity and touch jitter on AMOLED displays. Now, I want to go ahead and maybe try to shine a little bit of information and a little bit of light on this and give you guys maybe a more truthful explanation as to what the situation is. Other people have said or have labeled their videos as the truth, and not lying, but there's a lot more to the story. Because on AMOLED displays, each individual pixel is backlit. And on the K20 Pro's display, there is variable backlighting per pixel for the HDR10 content. And because of that, you have a lot of electrical interference. You have pixels being constantly lit, turned off, the amount of electricity going to each pixel is changing. So there's a lot of different electrical interference, I guess you could say, with an AMOLED display. That's inherent, as we know, thanks to people like Frankie Tech and the general YouTube community. Yes, there is electrical interference and there is noise that is inherent with AMOLED displays. Now, the danger of us labeling all touch displays or all OLED displays as being jittery or having a high amount of input interference is that now, because input interference and because touch responsiveness is not a binary issue, it's not black or white, right? We can have devices that are more responsive, we can have devices that are less responsive. And saying that all OLED displays suffer from this allows manufacturers to design us a device that has poor electrical grounding or a high amount of electrical interference, then slow down the touch responsiveness and blame it on OLED. I understand it's an issue that is inherent to OLED displays, but us giving all manufacturers a free pass and essentially saying, we understand that your devices use an OLED display, there's going to be touch interference, and we'll allow you to slow down the input or the sensitivity or the parameters of this, basically says that if a manufacturer uses an OLED display, they can compromise the touch experience that we get from the screen because of the inherent problems we have with OLED. Now, Samsung's method to getting around this is Samsung has a high touch sensitivity mode on their devices. And I even think this was back on the Galaxy Note 5 because I remember being able to toggle a setting on my Galaxy Note 5 which would allow me to use it with gloves. So Samsung is aware that there is a sensitivity or that there is a amount of electrical interference or touch sensor interference that comes with OLED displays, but they let you toggle it. But giving all manufacturers a free pass because of this, in my opinion, is really detrimental for user experience on OLED displays moving forward. So I think it's something that we need to just open up and have a general discussion about in the tech community, on YouTube. It's something that we really need to find a way to test at least a little bit more consistently, because obviously user feedback like myself, user feedback from other YouTubers isn't a consistent measuring stick for devices. So I think we need to have this conversation online. I want to know what you guys think. And I want to know if touch input and future touchscreen responsiveness is something that you are potentially worried about in future OLED paneled devices. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you feel about the Indian price launching of the K20 Pro. Go ahead and let's talk about it in the comments on Twitter. If you guys want to go ahead and submit some of your photos to my new user-generated Xiaomitography page on Instagram, that'd be awesome. And if you guys want to see more videos about the K20 Pro, go ahead and click or tap right here. And if you guys want to see some upcoming videos about the Hailu GT1s, I'm going to be doing my comprehensive review of them coming soon, probably tomorrow. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button here. If you want to check out my last video about the Hailu GT1s, go ahead and click or tap right over here. Till next time, guys, it's been Mitchell coming to you from Hanoi, and I'll see you soon.